we love that you're here. We're also recording this for distribution later, so which is why you have cameras around.
Giving the intro that I wanted to give so that make my job easier. Hi guys, my name is Dr. Bahar Ismaili. I'm a dentist. I used to practice in Boulder since 2017. I became a dentist because I wanted to help people. And at the cost of 10 years of practicing dentistry, I started looking at the body and how the body has formed the mouth. And the answers that I could not get from allopathic training that I had and everything that I had done. So I decided during pandemic to drop everything I was doing, and my why was my daughter. My 4-year-old daughter at the time that was just dealing with breathing disorders and a lot of ADHD symptoms, and nobody could tell me why my child is dissolving in front of me. So trying to find the answers to why her face was distorting, mouth getting crowded, tonsils are enlarged, she doesn't sleep, and I found out it was all at the root of the breathing disorder and her body's nervous system that is functioning in sympathetic, that I'm hoping that I can bring some of that here today. So left clinical dentistry 5 years ago, and here I am telling everyone about how your entire health is related to the way you breathe through your nose or not, and how we can change that for better health in collaboration, not just the dentist work. I work for a company called Vivos Therapeutics. I'm a VP of Clinical Integration at Vivos, where we actually have oral appliances, protocols, and interdisciplinary approaches to addressing breathing disorders and all. We have FDA clearance appliances that are the first in the market addressing obstructive sleep apnea and breathing disorder from anywhere from mild to severe. So you guys are going to get some really first-class data today. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, while you've got the mic, let's say this. Briefly, when...
Oh my Lord, when I started seeing the children that I was treating, especially my daughter, that had candida at the time and craving for sugar. And I know this was all related, and I'm trying to get her off and going through all of that. I had both of my children tested for their gut stools and all of this, to just seeing what kind of microbiome they are hosting, what they are not. And starting to see the choices of food that children are making. We're thinking that, well, we just supply them good food and not all there is to it. That was the light bulb moment went on, because what they're eating is just to feed the bacteria their body has become a host for. And when their bodies are functioning in sympathetic overdrive, it is not in rest and digest, and they're in an overwhelmed stage, their body is going to shut down the vagus nerve and then dial them into what's going to be a host for everything that is not proper for them. So looking, like I said, at the whole system, I knew right out of the gate, this is more than just what I see in their mouth.
How about you, Dr. Rham? When did you notice that observationally, specifically in your own life with the people you're coming in contact with? I'll mind the time and I'll ding my bowl when you're done. Recognize that detoxification is not something that we might necessarily know automatically. This is why we put these experts together. And the how of detoxifying the body is crucial. And so that's the space we're going to enter into now. Dr. Rham, I want to start with you. With the path toward detoxification, knowing how important it is, how are you addressing that in the products and in the conversations that you're having?
So when I went from
This in a vacuum in the body, and you have taken on holistic approaches to not just overall health and well-being, but with the purpose of detoxification.
Absolutely. And as we're talking,
I mean, I couldn't agree more with the lymphatics, and I want to bring that perspective. Dr. Rham here just beautifully portrayed it, that we as humans are not just bone and muscle. There's 3 aspects to our health, like a tripod. The tripod's legs, any one of them break, the entire thing is going to collapse. So we have the physical, which is neurological, orthopedics, muscles, nerves that hold us together. We have the biochemical, lifestyle, guts, microbiome, hormones, but also we have the mental, spiritual aspect. And all of those affect when they are out of regulations, when the nervous system is out of regulations, that information will be decoded in our fascia, the lymphatic system, which basically does in fact move the lymphatics. So the fact of the matter is your brain is the reason why you're sitting here and listening to me. Your brain makes all the decisions for you at any given moment. Am I safe or not safe? So the brain is wired into knowing where is everything coming from? Everything from the minute of conception all the way through birth and through adulthood. And we start with sensory, we become motor. We do not have motor abilities. Our brain starts to develop from bottom up and back to front. And the mouth, which is the dentistry part for me, is that front portion that we don't have when we're born and develops with us. So one of the things that I learned through my journey is the spinal fluid that goes around the very important organ called brain. Cerebrospinal fluid is the essence of health. It's that ultimate detoxification for the brain, which is an important organ. that basically our brain produces like an oil for the car, 120 mils every day in the ventricular system inside the brain, and it needs to be circulating around the brain and spinal cord to bring in oxygen and food and remove the metabolic waste or otherwise any kind of waste from the brain. And when that fluid is not moving, for whatever reason, it's built up and it's sluggish, it will in fact aid movement of the venous drainage, the oxygenated blood from the brain, lymphatic system, getting the blood to and from the brain. And it is sitting inside of our skull. The skull moves with the diaphragmatic breathing to aid with that pumping of that spinal fluid to the brain. It's called primary respiratory mechanism, flexion and extension. So when children are delivered traumatically, or we incur trauma of any sort, or orthopedic suffers, the control of the spinal fluid is within our dural meningeal system that's attached to the skull bones to the base of the spine, and that movement is impeded. When that fluid does not drain around the brain, we know that the brain is in trouble and it's building toxicity, which contributes to a lot of breath holds. Central apnea in children is going to cause a lot of ADHD. As a matter of fact, they've done a study on children that they were expected to be autistic at age 3. And what they noticed is from birth to age 3, the MRI is showing buildup of the CSF and lack of drainage in those children. Alzheimer's has been connected to buildup of toxicity on the brain from the lack of, I call it the sewage system or the irrigation system for the brain. So everything we're talking about, removing the toxic from the body, the vaccinations and all of that, is the amount of mold is a huge one. The toxicity that the world presents to us. I know, I'm writing a book, and the person who's trying to help me with that says, you gotta bring the message to people. Like, no, you got me anxious, right?
I want to do it.
So I want to encourage everyone. So you're thinking, am I that person? Do I have a problem? I want to encourage you to pay attention to your breathing and where your tongue is, because what we see is underdevelopment of the face. Our brains are getting bigger, but faces are getting smaller, and our breathing getting more distorted. Crowded teeth and underdevelopment of the face is in fact a distortion in the body and a breathing disorder. If your tongue cannot go to the roof of your mouth, and you're not able to properly, with the right rhythm and depth, breathe through your nose, you're in trouble. How do we fix it? It could be mental, spiritual. Could be biophysical. It could be, in fact, cranium in their mouth that is, small and contorted, and a tongue that doesn't have a space or tonicity to go to where it's supposed to be, and allowing the body to breathe in and out and create that pressure properly to function. When that's impeded, when a car, like I love how beautifully you said it, we care more about the cars, that if your car's steering wheel was shaking, you would go anywhere to make sure that car is safe. And if they are not giving you the answer, you go to the next mechanic. But why are we taking at the core of us? Go to the surgeon and they say, oh, we gotta amputate those body organs that are doing their job right. I'm talking about tonsillectomy. Well, why are they enlarged to begin with? And that's what they did to my daughter, and that's why, guys, this pours out of every pore in my body. Every mom out there needs to hear, your child's tonsils are out, they're breathing through their mouth, they're a walking zombie. And I want to say this because I want that emotional attachment to it. Children need to breathe through their nose, they need to get their tongue to the roof of their mouth and face need to grow, and they need to be able to breathe. And yes, getting those vaccinations, the toxicities, those EMFs out of their hands, the fluoride out of their mouth, right? All of those that contribute to further on debilitating them. But it behooves us to get that system functioning again, and there is hope, guys. Like, we just got the clearance, FDA clearance for treatment of obstructive sleep apnea on children, first in the history.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Well, there are things that we